I was trying to go for like the chainmail gladiator type look with this, but then I put it on and I was just like, no, I just look like I'm going to the Beyonce Renaissance concert. But whatever. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on another video and joining me here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, thank you so much for joining me here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk about action movies, superhero, mostly fantasy, sci-fi, and of course I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you like the channel, if you like the content, you like the personality, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. I checked my analytics and I noticed that more people watch my videos that are not subscribed than my actual subscribers. So if you do hit that subscribe button, check out all the other videos on my channel. Hit that like button because it'll really help with the YouTube algorithm, getting this video out there, getting my channel out there so I can continue to grow the channel. Now, with that said, guys, I actually got, thanks to Paramount, an early screening for Gladiator II, directed by Ridley Scott. And spoiler alert, I've never seen the first Gladiator movie. So I'm going into this movie basically completely, or I went into this movie basically completely blind, knowing nothing about the franchise other than the fact that it was starring Russell Crowe. And I believe this movie like propelled Russell Crowe into like A-list status. But with that said, let's get into a non-spoiler review for Gladiator 2. And could you watch this movie or understand this movie having never seen the first Gladiator movie? So yeah, let's get into it. The synopsis for Gladiator 2 is: years after witnessing the death of Maximus at the hands of his uncle, Lucius must enter the Colosseum after the powerful emperors of Rome conquer his home. With rage in his heart and the future of the empire at stake, he looks to the past to find the strength and honor needed to return the glory of Rome to its people. And granted, I didn't read the synopsis or really watch any trailers based on this movie, but spoiler alert from the synopsis, knowing that the death of Maximus, which is the character that Russell Crowe played, I didn't know his character died at the end of the movie or his character was dead. I knew I was going to see like a Russell Crowe cameo or something Russell Crowe related watching this movie. When they showed that he died, I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's a spoiler for the first movie. So spoiler alert for the first Gladiator movie if you haven't seen it. But I do plan on watching the first Gladiator movie now that I've seen this movie. But I was like, you know what? Let me actually release my review first before I watch Gladiator 1. And then I was like, depending on the response or depending on if people want, I'll review the first Gladiator movie after I watch it. But I did plan on watching the first Gladiator movie before I saw this. I woke up early to try to watch it, but then I saw this movie was like, the first Gladiator movie was almost like 3 hours. I was like, yeah, no, I'm going back to sleep, like, because I woke up super early to try to watch it. I was like, yeah, no, I'm going back to sleep. But with that said, do you need to have watched the first Gladiator movie to understand this movie? I would say no. This movie basically tells you everything that you need to know to understand this movie. Like, yes, there is context and characters and moments and world building and lore and things that you're missing out on or you don't have. But I would say you don't necessarily need that context to enjoy this movie. Your enjoyment would probably make this movie even better if you have that context, but you don't necessarily need it in terms of like, are you going to be confused by the end or during the movie if you haven't seen the first movie? So I would say kudos on this movie for that, because I would say like, because a lot of people will be like, oh, can I jump into like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War had I not seen any of the Marvel movies? And I would say like, no, you need to watch virtually all the Marvel movies to really jump into Endgame and Infinity War. But also with that said, having not seen the first Gladiator movie, I really enjoyed this movie. I had a great time watching this movie. This movie was pretty good. Now, I will say, being that it was rated R. And I say blood, sex, and gore. Obviously, there's no magic in this. It takes place in the real world, so there's no magic. But for a movie that is rated R and is about the gladiatory and the Colosseum space, it wasn't as bloody and gory as I would have personally wanted. I was expecting to see way more decapitations, way more blood. Not to say there was no blood in this movie. It's not to say there weren't any graphic and gory kills. There were. It just wasn't as much as I was hoping for and expect. Like, I was expecting it to be more Spartacus level in terms of like the blood and gore. And then also being that it takes place during the Roman Empire, I was expecting to see way more sex in this movie. And then also being that it takes place in the Roman Empire. And this is something that I say, if you're a follower of my channel, you know I say this on almost every movie, but it wasn't gay enough for me. And I also say that with an intention because there were moments that characters referenced, you know, being with other men, or like you could tell that this character liked the company of men. But for the most part, they didn't really show it that much. Not to say like I was expecting, actually, no, I was expecting full sex scenes. Both, heterosexual and homosexual, because like I said, this was the Roman Empire and this movie was just kind of sexless. To be, and that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't make it bad that it was sexist, but I'm just like, come on now, like at least show me a man-on-man kiss, because we saw heterosexual kissing. At least show me, like, make it gayer. That's my motto. Make it blacker, make it gayer. Now, speaking of make it blacker, Denzel Washington was in this movie, and he played the character of Marinus. Something like that. It started with an M. And Denzel Washington definitely stole the show, as he generally does. Like, he's Denzel Washington. Now, come on. And he was great in this movie. And like the way his character ended up being portrayed in this movie, I'm not going to say too much, but his character surprised me in a good way. Like, I really enjoyed Denzel Washington in this role, and I would like to see him portray more roles like this, in the sense of, no, this movie wasn't like fantasy, but just the fact that it was so like epic in scale in terms of like the Colosseum and, you know, taking place during ancient Rome. Like, I would like to see Denzel Washington lean more into these, like, I would just say, for the sake of it, high fantasy like characters. Like, I do know that he did mention that Ryan Coogler is writing a role for him in Black Panther 3. I saw somebody saying, oh, is he going to play Blue Marvel? He's not playing Blue Marvel. Denzel Washington said he only has a couple more movies left in him, and then after that, he's going to retire. So I highly doubt they're going to introduce a Blue Marvel character only for it to be a one-and-done movie, and then all of a sudden, Denzel Washington is going to retire. Like, so I don't think he's playing Blue Marvel, but I'm excited to see Denzel Washington in Black Panther 3, because this will be his, as far as I know, his first time jumping into a superhero franchise. Like, I know he did like sci-fi with what's that supernatural movie that starts with a V? Vertigo. Hold up. Virtuosity. There we go. And he also did the Book of Eli. Like, he's done some sci-fi supernatural movies, but I want to see him do more before he retires. So Black Panther 3. But yeah, with that, also Paul Mescal, who was the main character in this movie. This is the first movie I've seen him in, and he was really good. I know he also did a movie that I need to watch because it's a gay movie. But yeah, it's called All of Us Are Strangers. And I think it's like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. So people like it. So I guess I'll check it out eventually, maybe. Especially after watching this movie. Like, I was like, oh, he's pretty good. I want to check out more of him. Yeah, I do. And even like Joseph Quinn and Fred Hetchinger, who played the like psychotic emperors of Rome. Like, they were great as psychopaths. Like, I was just like, oh, wow. They are dead. Like, all the actors in this movie were really good. And just like the directing with Ridley Scott in terms of like the action sequences are really good. And then even when you got to the start of the movie with the score was really, like, overall, this movie was great. Now, I will say, and I don't know if part of it is because the screener, like, this movie is pretty long. And I felt the length. Like, I was sitting like, oh my God, like, how much longer is this movie? Because I'm ready to go. And I don't know if part of that is because maybe the pacing or like the movie could have been cut, or if I felt that way because the screening, like, the event started at like 6:30, and it went from 6:30 to 7:45, where they had like refreshments, pictures, photos, and all of that. But then the movie itself didn't start until like a little after 8 o'clock. So you were there at the event for a while, and I even got there late, so I wasn't even there from 6:30 to 7:45. I got there around 7 o'clock. So from 7 to 7:45, and then the movie started a little after 8, and then it was almost. It was probably like 2:45, maybe almost 3 hours. So then you didn't get out the movie until almost 11 o'clock. So I don't know if I felt that way because this movie started late. So I would probably have to watch it again to determine if I felt the length because I was just tired overall, or if it was because the movie was just long. But the movie was long. So keep that in mind. Make sure you go to the bathroom before you sit down and watch the movie in the theaters. But it's the same thing, but that's par for the course for the first Gladiator movie, because the first Gladiator movie, like I said, I wanted to watch it, and then I saw it was like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna have to wait another day. I'm going back to sleep. So they're both long. But with that said, taking a comment from my friend who went with me, who did see the first movie. You guys know her, Vanta, who's been on my live reviews. She said, if you saw the first movie and you loved the first movie, you would love this one as well. So there you go. And I would say if you haven't seen the first movie and you see this movie, I would say you will really enjoy this movie as well. So I would say Gladiator 2 is definitely worth a watch, especially on a big IMAX screen, which is where I saw it. So with that said, have you guys seen the first Gladiator movie? Are you interested in seeing this Gladiator movie? Or once you see Gladiator 2, come back here and let me know all of your thoughts regarding the movie. Once again, if you can, hit that like button, that thumbs up button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, hopefully you check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Watch, like, share, comment, interact for the all gay rhythm. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.